Welcome back to the What's Next podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about asking for help. And my word, it is very important. You are live here with Bill and Luke from Next Advisory. Bill, I need your help. Why is it important to ask for help?
Oh my goodness, you have come in full noise, full of energy, ready for another great session, and it is great to be back. Asking for help is so important, and I think it gets thrown around so often around that mental health aspect.
That's true.
Around asking for help, but I think it's so much broader than that.
Definitely.
And in the business context, because that's what this is all about, right? Helping business owners getting ahead.
Yeah.
Is owning a business, running a business can be a lonely journey at times. And it's not hard, well, it shouldn't be that hard to put your hand up and ask for help.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to that Kiwi mentality of, she'll be right, or the number 8 wire mentality of, we'll be able to fix it. But more often than not, when you're running a business, da-dum, you'll think you will, and, let's say for IRD, that's the quick one. You might get behind on your GST, bury your head in the sand.
Oh, not good this.
Nah.
Doesn't end well.
You haven't asked for help. And the easy one is, in that case, talk to your accountant, talk to IRD, get an instalment arrangement set up, and do it sooner rather than later. The amount of times we have seen people that have just decided to go, nah, we'll just ride this out. We can do it ourselves. We're tough.
And the shit hits the fan.
The shit indeed hits the fan, and it hits the fan in a big way, because then it starts with GST and then it goes on to PAYE. And let me tell you, once you start getting behind in your PAYE, you are fucked.
Oh, good energy. I like it. Yeah. And we've seen it a number of times, and we actually ask clients, we say, why did you not reach out for some help earlier on to try and fix this or find a solution, right? And sometimes it takes people to get to that pain point for it to be big enough or to be urgent or scary enough for them to be able to reach out. But to take it back to a positive aspect, you don't know what you don't know, right? And that is the value of asking people for help and getting in the habit of asking for help, because people will be able to solve all of your problems. So you'll meet someone and you'll say, I haven't figured out how to raise my prices. Oh, this is how we did it. Oh, wow, okay. I'm glad that I asked for some help in that space, or whatever it is. Or how do I, go launch into Australia? How do I employ somebody? And there's so many problems that come up in business, and instead of burying your head in the sand and going, right, I'm just going to...
There seems to be a real stigma around it, eh?
What's that, burying your head in the sand? Or
no, just asking for help, that there's like shame in it.
Yeah, which seems stupid.
It does. It's not cool.
No, because that's how we learn and grow with like everything, and we basically get taught that from school. Like we go to school to learn, so we're effectively asking for help, but then once we get out there, we have to know everything, which just isn't true. But
no, and it kind of ties back into that earlier podcast that we did on business planning. In order for the business to grow, you need to be able to invest in yourself, and you don't know all the answers.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to ask for help in order to grow.
Yeah. And when you go to a retail store or you're going to get a clothing item or something, it's natural to say, hey, can you please give me a hand? Got a wedding, I need a new shirt and a jacket. What's going to fit my body? What color do you reckon? Like, something like that. It's completely normal. It's completely accepted. But when you're struggling with like business failure or your business not doing so well, I think it's that embarrassment factor almost, or that pride factor is probably a better term, where people think, oh, I don't really want to. Yeah, I feel like I'd rather just let my pride get in the way of me actually achieving what I want to.
It's a difficult one, and I don't know. We don't always have the answers.
Yeah,
but it's
someone does. Or Google does.
Google does.
Goes good, Uncle G.
Yep, but I think it just highlights the importance of having, when you're in business, those people that are around you that you trust. And don't be afraid to pick up the phone, because they ain't going to laugh at you. They ain't going to judge you. And more often than not, they will likely have some form of answer, be it the lawyer, the accountant, the banker. And if they don't, they will have a network of people that they'll be able to point you in the right direction of.
Classic example that springs to mind for the last 2 days. I say classic example a lot, don't I? A client said, we've got an Australian company interested in using our services. They've asked, what's our ABN, Australian business number?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have one. What do we do? Do we need a Aussie bank account? Should I go to BNZ and ask them to open us an Australian bank account? I'm like, that's an Australian bank account, not a Australian business number.
Yep.
I'm like, just slow down and bring this back to basics. Are they willing just to pay you guys to your New Zealand bank account? You do the work as normal and just leave it at that? Or is this going to be an ongoing thing, etc.? And because they've been brave enough to ask, we're now having the conversation around, okay, what's this looking like longer term? Do you want to just keep it simple? What are you trying to achieve here? And we'll be able to figure it out rather than finding out down the track like, oh, we didn't take the job on because we thought that we needed an ABN, but actually that was just their normal email that they send out when they start doing work. We just had to send them an invoice for them to pay.
That is some absolute gem, gold pieces of advice. Let's get back to basics.
Get back to basics. Keep it simple.
Because, more often than not, from what we've seen, when a business owner is confronted with a problem, they make it out to be so much bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
And you've got to think that there's so many businesses out there that have already gone down the path that you're already on.
Yep.
So the answers are out there.
Yeah.
And typically they are not that hard.
Yeah. I had a interesting phone call. I haven't told you about this one yet.
Oh, here we go.
My phone rang.
Yep. For a change.
Yeah. And answer, because you always answer a phone call from an unknown number because you never know who that person could be.
When you answer your phone,
yeah,
you should smile.
Really? That's good. Okay. That just put you in like a positive start of your phone call.
Yeah, the other person on the other end will pick up the phone. Will pick up on. Well,
they've already called
you.
They call me.
Jeez, I think I'm getting the coronavirus from these coronas. They will pick up on it.
Yeah, I like that. I try and be real positive when I talk on the phone.
Yeah.
To frame it into like a real exciting conversation.
Well, you're always jazzed up when I'm talking to you.
Yeah. I definitely get a lot more excited when you call me.
Hey.
Sorry, back on topic. And basically they're working their ass off, is their words, and just not getting ahead. There's never any money in. I'm struggling to pay people. I've asked my accountant for some help, but it's like the numbers all make sense. I'm in my zero every day. I'm looking at my profit and loss, but it's just not working. And I said, well, it's hard for me to have a phone call like this and figure out how to help you. But I'm like, well done for picking up the phone and saying, I'm going to do something about this. I said, well, we'll be happy to have a look and take a high level look. But I said, if your accountant's already helped you and you're not getting ahead, what do you think could be the core problem behind this? And as we dug deeper, it was that they went through a really tough period for about 4 months where they didn't make any margin and they actually lost money on jobs.
Wow. And
so now they're working out the back of recovering that money.
Wow.
And then don't have a high enough margin to be able to do it fast enough. So they're thinking, well, I'm working so hard, but I'm not getting anywhere.
Gee, that's a battle.
Yeah. So then you've got the likes of tax, which is then compounding it because it's based on the year before and stuff like that. And so, it's all those sorts of things. You need all of the pieces of the puzzle before we can actually diagnose some form of help as such. But actually having what's the word for being brave? Brave enough anyway to call and actually say
courageous enough
to pick up the phone and say, hey, is there any way that you can help me? So I really admired that about this young fella that got on the phone yesterday.
Good on him for doing that. And gee, it sounds like he's got a bit of a tough road ahead of him.
Certainly does. Not going to be easy by the sounds, but that is sometimes the first step to acknowledging.
Sounds like he needs to go back to being potentially selective at the jobs that he's taking on and picking the ones that are only at a higher margin to claw him out faster.
This is live advice on the What's Next podcast, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting it for free here today too. My word, Phil's just dishing it out.
Hunt the margin.
Hunt the margin.
Yeah.
And scrap the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the non-margin.
Maybe. Yeah, it depends how big his problem is.
Okay. All right. You got any problems, mate? Just speaking of problems.
Oh, jeez.
We got any business?
Mate, we've only got a limited time on this podcast,
okay.
And I'm afraid I would take up our listeners' day and beyond.
One thing that we are lucky enough to do because we have a partnership rather than a sole trader structure.
That is one thing I'm incredibly grateful for.
Yeah, it is. Like so many times I've gone, I'm literally like I don't have any answers here, and I'll give you a call. I'm like, hey mate, here's the background. I'm I'm stuck now. What should I do? And so often you'll be like, oh, you just got to do this, or I've done this before, or this is how we should approach it, or we need to find out that. And it makes it so much simpler. You're like, oh, what was I worried about not having the answers? Like Phil did, or Phil knows someone that did, or and like vice versa. So I think if you can get into the habit of not having to be a hero that knows everything and
being a hero, there it is.
It sounds a bit rough, but like if you get stuck in that habit of thinking, well, I have to know everything, it's just not real, because in business you can't. Like, there's too much to know, especially in this day and age. You can think you're doing really well, and you bump into one person, they say, oh, this is how we do it, and bang, it unlocks like a completely new level of your business.
You know what? Just sitting here thinking about the people that are prepared to help, I think they are in potentially a slightly different space with mindset.
Yep.
If we can touch on that a little bit, in that they're prepared to risk a little bit to be able to get ahead.
Yeah.
In terms of sacrificing what could be perceived as that pride thing that you raised before, and go, well, I'm prepared to get over myself, to then go one step back to go two steps forward.
Yeah.
Rather than that, I'll go two steps back to go one step forward.
Yeah, going the wrong way. They're running backwards, effectively.
Yeah.
Going backwards. So they need to be prepared to invest in themselves, or invest in the solution, or like both, I guess, right?
Invest in themselves and understand when they're getting into that mind space where they're thinking is in that negative frame, or below the line, as sometimes it's called. And if you're able to recognize when that's happening, stop yourself from thinking that way and go, right, how can I reframe this to go, right, let's take the thinking above the line and make it positive. So that comes back to, your great approach to so many different things, in terms of if there's somebody's throwing you a whole bunch of negativity your way, you throw a whole bunch of positivity back.
Yeah.
And I think that's a brilliant answer. So when it comes back to asking for help, I think you need to be in the right headspace of going, well, how much of it is tied to my way of thinking?
Yeah.
And do I need to change that in order to get a better outcome?
And for me this week, that is very knowledgeable there, Phil. Very knowledgeable.
It happens sometimes.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
This week for me, like, obviously I'm a big believer in learning about your strengths and leaning into those further. And I love that space. And so I've kind of tapped out my own self-learning on that. And so I've had to reach out and ask for help again, and find a strengths coach. And I work with Suze and sit down and go, right, like, how can I use these better? What am I missing?
So a strengths coach, is that to get those guns bit bigger? Is that the strengths we're talking about, mate? Is it are you working on leg week now? Because those chicken legs aren't really changing over the last couple of years.
These are definitely not a strength of mine. Yeah. These are more of a sort of not so much mental.
Did you find the calf machine in the gym?
I did. Suze found it for me and said, look, half an hour a day. No, this is more of a what makes me me, and what am I good at naturally, and then how can I be better at that, or how can I implement it, or how can I use it to benefit our clients, benefit friends, relationships, those sorts of things. So I focus on one a month. And then she holds me accountable and gives me okay, how are you going to use this over the next month? And at the end of that month, I then sit down with her and say, this is what I did. And then she challenges me on whether I really hit the mark with it or not, or things that I might be overlooking. And sometimes that stuff is around, this is the way you see the world, Luke, but that is not necessarily how those people see the world, because they have a different set of strengths. Or this is stuff you're really good at, Luke, but you suck at this stuff as such, or this stuff's in your blind spot. But luckily you have Phil to lean on, or other people in your network that can help you get through it, because it's okay to admit that you're not going to be good at everything.
And understanding your strengths, and it's something we're both really quite big on, is understanding that it then highlights when something is going to be outside of your, is in those blind spots that you referred to before, and makes it easier to ask for help. Yeah.
Well, even for us at the moment, we've got a big project that we need to do with a client, and you've done a number of them before. And I'm like, mate, how have you approached this previously? I know it's going to save me reinventing the wheel.
Just the old quick copy and paste.
Flick
Works
it over.
well.
Yeah, we'll change it up. And then, But that's how you refine a process, right? And get things done faster, being able to lean on other people and ask them to help you
Totally.
along the way. What do you think are key ways for people to get past not having the ability to ask for help? That's a deep, tough question, isn't it?
What's the key
So
ability
if you're
somebody
listening
needs?
and you struggle to reach out and ask for help, whether that be in a business space or it might be training or it might be trying to get better at a sport or whatever it is.
Wow, that is exceptionally deep, and you have got my little brain. All gears are engaged.
We might have to pause this and call a counsellor.
No, I'm thinking like if you're faced with a problem, how are you going to break it down?
Yeah.
And I think it kind of comes back to when you're in the thick of it, the problem looks like it's at level 100, but in reality, the problem's probably at level 10 to somebody else who's looking from the outside.
Yeah.
I think it's having people around you that you trust.
Bang, I was hoping you were going to go down that.
You have to. And I think for being a bloke, more often than not, it's probably not family.
Mm.
Lads generally have a good network of other lads that they can bounce off of.
Yeah.
And talk through stuff. And in the right environment, you can share almost anything.
Mm.
We certainly do.
Yep.
There's been some interesting chats.
Key being the right environment, right?
Totally. And I think that's it. On the female's perspective, that's a bit difficult because I don't qualify as a female.
Oh, I did wonder. You're not? No.
Yeah, it's Philip,
There
not
was a time we
Philippa.
went. Oh, there was once when we went away, and I just
You weren't quite sure?
Yeah, the toilet seat was down.
Wow, cop that. And I think it's just having those people around you.
Yeah.
Who you trust and who know you.
Yeah. And aren't going to judge you.
And who aren't going to judge you but know you deeply and can provide some objective input because they might have some attachment to you and want the best for you, but they'll be able to provide a different perspective.
Yeah. So if you're ringing someone saying, hey, I need some help with this, and they're saying, oh, I can't believe you don't know that, like, oh, that's so easy, or like, how have you missed this? Like,
oh, the immediate thing that rings to my mind is that don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Now, that person sounds like a dick.
Yeah, don't call the dick. Yeah, they can go. You got to call people that are okay. They're willing to help you and want to see you succeed.
Yep.
And we probably take for granted a little bit that everybody has that in their life, but it's not necessarily true, right? And that is then some of the barriers that we work through of clients thinking, wonder why they didn't just call us. Like, why didn't they call us before? Or like, why didn't they call us a year ago? Like, we could have fixed this, or hey, you've got this massive problem. Who else are you going to share it with? Because
and I think in the professional context, that when you're in business, sometimes the business owner doesn't know who they can call because they didn't know that either the accountant, lawyer, or banker could help them solve the problem.
Yeah. We often see that with banking, don't we? Where it's like the bank gets treated as the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, but you must be able to fix this. So, surely, it's not that bad.
Business owners don't like their banks.
Yeah, and the bank's sitting there going, oh, man, I don't want to be fixing stuff. I want to be helping you grow stuff.
Banks have got an interest in making sure that you succeed.
Yeah.
Because it's their money, so they want to make sure they get it back.
Yeah, they're investing in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your house because they want to take security over your property. So let's be completely honest. But yeah, it's an interesting subject, and I don't think it's ever something that will completely break.
And I think using this whole asking for help thing, and dare I bring it up because it's got under my skin probably a little bit more than it has yours, is we recently have had a client that didn't reach out for help
soon enough,
and they sent us a reasonably lengthy email.
There's a bit to get through.
There was, and a fair bit of it was around what they were thinking and what they were feeling, and not being in a position to be able to put their hand up and go, hey, have I bitten off more than I can chew? I need more direction. I need more help. And through the passage of time, the problem just got bigger and bigger and bigger. until they finally decided to go, wow, the problem's too big, and essentially it broke.
Yeah. And we got, I guess, probably a little bit offended because we thought, wow, this is an outlier for us. Most of our clients, if they are upset about something or have a problem, they'll get in touch and they know we created an environment where they can do that. And so I think for me, I took it as like, oh, well, how have we not created that environment? But I think what we did in terms of saying, hey, look, we need our clients to be in a safe and comfortable environment to discuss these things was the best way for us to approach that, because it's so genuine and it's true to how we want to operate. And then if they can't, or if they weren't, then they need to give us the feedback why not, and they couldn't. So yeah, I feel like we dealt with it probably quite well, or true to our values.
Oh, absolutely, we did. It was just
Sometimes it's not meant to be.
Yeah, sometimes it's not meant to be, but it's just a shame that there's people out there that battle through.
Yeah,
and are going through stuff and don't think that they can reach out and ask for help. And I think overall, everybody just wants to see everyone succeed. Generally,
yeah,
barring that tall poppy shit.
yeah. I think our mate Brent at Norling Law has got a very interesting business model where he effectively looks after a lot of businesses that are failing.
Yep.
But there's still something you can learn there, because you can go, hey, Brent, can you please teach me how to avoid having to use you? And I quite like that's how he does his marketing. He'll basically say, do these things to avoid having to need me. But then it teaches them that if they don't, then they're like, oh, I got to call that bloke because I missed those things he said that I should be doing.
He's a smart man.
He's a very smart man. But there's always something to learn from somebody. And I think if you can get in the habit of asking for help, even when you feel like you don't need it, then that is a great way to then know to be comfortable to ask for help when you do need it, because you can identify like, okay, I'm really in a bit of trouble here, but I can identify it earlier than being the too late.
Wow, that is deep.
Thanks, mate. I was due, wasn't I?
Asking for help from successful people that have been there and learned something from them when the times are good, so that when the times are tough, you're comfortable asking for help.
I reckon that would be one of the key things, that if I could reteach myself at an earlier age to try and learn from people that have done well and been successful, and have the confidence to ask them.
Who would have that been in Palmerston North?
That's a good question. Palmerston North, Ross Taylor maybe, Aaron Cruden,
Cruden?
Jacob Oram, saw him in the Foursquare in Dannyvik one time. This is the people in the background saying these are not very successful. Now, Tony's Tyre Service when we were young, growing up, very successful business.
Tony's Tyre Service.
Yeah, probably brought a few tyres for your Audi there, mate. Not cheap, good margin on those Pirelli P80s or whatever.
Yeah, geez, I haven't needed any yet, but it'll be coming.
But there are a lot of people doing things really well, but we're so scared to actually ask people like, hey, mate, how do you do this? Or like, hey, what's I'm really interested in this. Can you please? Hey, you're a millionaire. Like, how'd you save $1 million? What's the process?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, just try.
And most Kiwi people are just good bastards, aren't they?
They are, especially successful ones.
Yeah, and they are prepared to give up their time.
Yeah.
To share what they know. I mean, you think about what happened to us last year that you jacked up.
Oh,
Rob Fife.
Meeting of the minds of Rob Fife.
Yeah, we thought we were in for no more than an hour with
tops
with the great one.
One of the great Kiwi leaders.
Yep. And how long were we with him? Over 2 hours.
Yeah. And he was invested in our learning. And I said I used some of the things that I learned from him.
Yep.
And I told you the story today, how I was in a meeting and I went, stop. Like, this has gone too far.
That's right. What
did Rob Fife say about this shit? Bang, we're approaching it from the wrong way. If we never had that meeting, my decision-making process could have been completely different. So,
and we jacked up a meeting, and it could be seen as being asked for help because we wanted to be able to tap into his success and get some key learnings from him for our own personal development that we can then use for ourselves.
On Saturday, I said to the CEO of Vodafone, I said, mate, I'd love to have a lunch with you at some stage. And he said, Luke, I've seen some of the lunches you've been on, mate. I'm not interested. I'm like, okay, cop that. And I was like, oh, no, not one of those lunches. I I really want to learn some stuff. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, well, we will tee something up. I'm like, bingo.
Nice.
So, but I was still nervous and scared to say like, oh, mate, can I?
Back at Soul Bar, no doubt. That's your favourite hangout, eh?
Mate, I've been there once, once in the last 24 hours, and you're having a go at me about my favourite establishments. Now, I like the chicken down at headquarters, if I'm completely honest. Bloody good feed. I'll have to take you one time. They have this mashed potato with a gravy on the side. It's and then this beautiful slaw. It's divine, mate. It's divine. What are you doing tomorrow?
Booked out tomorrow. It'll be next week.
Okay. Yeah, well, we have to do it, honestly. It is. Done. Yeah. But, you have to get in that habit of asking people, hey, can you please help me? Because these people, they want to help you. They're waiting for you to ask. They're thinking, wonder why. Sometimes I even think, like, I wonder why people don't come and say, hey, how do I do this? Or how'd you do that? Or whatever. But it's not until they might have had 6 beers or something and they might get brave enough to do it or whatever. But if you can teach yourself the habit, you'll get so much out of it.
Yep. It's not always easy because more often than not, your pride gets in the way. But on the other side of it, because you're getting outside of your comfort zone, the world and the grass is just that much greener.
And remember that if you've got an accountant, they have dealt with probably these same problems previously.
Oh, yeah.
So just drop them a line and say, hey, I've got this problem. Do you know? You don't have to be like, you need to solve it. You just say, do you know anyone that would be able to help me with this? And accountants and lawyers, etc., they're very, very well connected because they're dealing with so many different businesses that have so many different problems. Yep. So we leverage off of the clients, the problems that our clients have and go, oh, wow, that person, like that client got it solved by such and such. And then when we see it happen somewhere else, we're like, okay, let's nip this in the butt and get straight into it. You need to go and speak to these people and things like that. So get in the habit of just flicking out an email or a text or something and just saying, hey, do you know anyone that could solve this problem? And they're either going to say, like, actually, like, I don't and can't help you, or, yeah, 100%. They can do it themselves, or they might, they'll know someone.
Well, there you have it, New Zealand business.
It's that easy. Learn how to ask for help. Get better doing it. It's not a pride thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Take it as a lesson in personal development, professional development for growth. Because on the other side of it will come real cool things.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Smart, sexy.
There it is. The What's Next podcast. We are out of here. Thank you, Phil. That has been outstanding. I'd love to take you to headquarters for a nice chicken, but it sounds like you've got a bit on your plate already, and I'm not talking about chicken, so we'll have to schedule it in for another time. If you'd like to join us for the chicken, or maybe even on the podcast at some stage, then get in touch. We'd love to highlight what some Kiwi businesses are doing well out there that may fly under the radar. A lot of great small to medium-sized businesses go unnoticed and people don't know about them, but they are doing things really, really well, and they can probably they can teach other business owners things to help improve their businesses. So if you'd like to be involved, then get in touch with us at
LNP at nextAdvisory.nz.
We're out.